Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is Societal Narcissism. This video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous. But before I get to Anonymous's video, please go to the Rumble link in the description box. I asked everybody to watch on Rumble as I'm still monetized there, and it'll help out with the channel. On to Anonymous's story. Hello, Ollie. First, I want to thank you for your years of wisdom. Your work is not in vain, though I am one of the many that can question the best course of action with handling things as many adult scapegoat children do. It just goes to show that the number one, it just goes to show the number done on us. I want to be succinct as possible, giving an overview because otherwise my writing about my trauma with covert, vulnerable narcissist mother can be a 31 years long email, which is exactly how old I am. My mother was cold and detached as far as I can remember. I had a tumor in my chest as a child, and for months, despite my skin discoloring, she would tell me to put moisturizer on it. It took me visiting a family member out of town one weekend and then seeing me scratch it repeatedly to look at the area and immediately take me to the hospital in the middle of the night. The first hospital said they would just watch it over time, so my family took me to another hospital for a second opinion. That one immediately scheduled me for surgery. I had a major operation before I was even a teenager. And your family members did this? I'm surprised they did the surgery. They must have gotten permission from your parent. Well, if they had guardianship over you at the time, if they were responsible, I guess they could sign off on the surgery. Someone attempted to kidnap me in middle school. I ran to a random house, and the adults there drove me home and called the police once there. My mother asked me nothing about the situation after everyone left and had me walking alone to school again the next day. She would bum off her parents, so all of my early childhood, I was primarily raised by them while she slept on their couch. She had a Section 8 apartment granted for us that she would allow her pimp boyfriend to sell drugs out of. Okay. I'm wondering if we're dealing with another Black Cinderella here. Don't know. We never had and that's not just to say, there can only be black pimps, but we've heard this scenario before. Nothing comes before in the borderline woman's dick and attention. Nothing, nothing, nothing. We never had a place of our own when I was a kid. She didn't even get her first car until her 30s, just like her gambling and religious narc mother did. Both to consume chasing men. Again, dick and attention. However, I went with my boyfriend, who was on the robotics team, to a random auction just to have a male with me, and I purchased my first car thanks to my Chuck E. Cheese job in high school. Rewind before that. When I turned 14, my mother ended up with my stepfather, who was very toxic in his own right. He had a physically tumultuous relationship with his son, raising him in a very old macho bravado way. And my stepbrother, a year older than me, ran away from his senior high school. He never came back and now has a wife and children of his own. He does not bring around, but he does occasionally text the family. We weren't allowed to watch TV during weekdays. Snacks would be locked away to be rationed on weekends only. They love putting locks on food. The borderline mother loves controlling their children through food and food deprivation. They overfeed them, or they just give them everything they want, and they cripple them by making them obese. There were cameras and guns surrounding the home. I slept on an air mattress on the floor while everyone else had king beds until my other side of the family got word of it. My stepfather and I didn't get off to the best start, and I even threatened to kill him in the beginning. Not realizing he was nearly as much of a problem as my mother was behind the scenes, pulling strings, throwing rocks, and hiding her hand. Even allowing a strange man to immediately play G.I. Joe with her daughter anyway was a huge issue. She would sit back silently as I was berated, or even hide behind me when they would have their issues. I've symbolically been her bulletproof vest since since I was born. Her and my dad got pregnant with me in high school, and his mom talked her out of aborting me. And there is the issue. She never wanted you. She never wanted you in the first place. Hence the resentment, clearly. My biological dad is a borderline schizo who only allows his father consistent communicate communication with him. I hear about how well he is doing from those relatives who I am very close to. Conveniently, my mother was just always at a loss for words with anything that mattered, saying nothing more than mm-hmm or well, all right. I'm thinking Black Cinderella here. Unless, of course, it was time to be critical with me. She had and still does have a way of screaming at me in such a wrathful manner that it's clear that the animosity surpasses any other emotion had for me. She would cuss me out for not understanding math in elementary school, wouldn't get me tutoring, punch me on my arm in the morning before school on my birthday due to me being up late, excited about waking up too late that morning and getting smart about it. Wouldn't buy me new clothes, wouldn't even brush my teeth. I was so dirty all the time and bullied immensely at school for it. My hair was only tended to when I would stay at friends' houses and their parents would love me as their own. My mother bummed off my overt narcissist side of the family, dad's maternal side, for things I needed financially, although they lived out of town. And even when she would occasionally see them in person, she would sit back and watch my dad's brother talk down to me for trying to look too pretty on the holiday with my hair pressed out, eyeliner, and two-inch kitten heel snow boots. Who says that about a child? This is what I'm talking about in these families. The degeneracy, the debauchery runs rampant. And it's all must be something you're doing. Needless to say is that he had his own sexual deviant issues clearly, but she loved letting any man take the lead, whatever that looked like, and whoever had to be sacrificed, well, that was just what it was. It was all dick and attention, whether she's related to it or not, because she's in constant competition with you for men, and she wants to see any man talk down to you and abuse you. Why? Because she sees you as her direct competition. I've seen her sneak into the bathroom for extended times with her sister's boyfriend when I was 5. Seen her initiate a kiss with her own first cousin when I was 7, and then started screaming at me, changing the subject to distract what I saw. My God, what a video to kick back off to. She would mold me to chase people, telling me I was dead wrong for not pinging down this great aunt or that random uncle or this cousin twice removed. The latest thing, forgetting to call her old friend about her 90-year-old mother-in-law who passed away. Just endless, unnecessary performing from a child. In reality, I was already an extrovert, and I had a great loving relationship with many people. I was already bounced around, so when not at her parents' house, I was in many other families' residences. And lastly, it isn't the responsibility of a child to be the bridge. Ironically, my mother is socially awkward, antisocial, emotionally stunted, and repressed, uncaring, undercover hood rat who has the same clique of 3 to 5 mean girlfriends from high school in the early 90s. Okay, so hood rat, I'm going definitely with another Black Cinderella. And you know, I have read story after story after story just like this from my black female subscribers. She's socially stunted, she's repressed, she's uncaring. Why? Because the only value she has in her own mind is what's between her legs. That's it. That's all. That is all she is about. That is the only value she has. And when they're not bar hopping and clubbing, she allows and encourages these women to be mean to me under the guise of them protecting me from her, or protecting her from me, protecting her from you. That was a line my mother used a lot. Sees how wild you are. Get the bat, Michael. Remember, my mother used to keep a Louisville Slugger behind her bedroom door, and anytime something happened, she would tell my brother to go grab the bat. Get the bat, Michael. And when they're not, okay. They get together and laugh at me. Even one saying, I can't wait to get in the car and talk about you with your mom. Last Christmas, loving to mock me about my conservative style of dress, my bland hair, and so on. Meanwhile, these women have kids who are teenage parents multiple times over. Some even had paternity court issues. Some of these women are glamas, which in their world is ghetto fabulous way of being called a grandmother. One of them even has a son in prison for the murder of a child he had accidentally while doing a drive-by shooting in an upper middle class neighborhood. Now she's raising his offspring, and the cycle continues. I work in genetic science. I am child-free until happily married, if that is the will for my life. I moved to different states multiple times over with no support, even having lived in my car through winters at some points to get a footing in a new place. I am an honest and charitable member of society. I pay my taxes. I care for my community. I avoid toxic relationships. Even when my mom's little clique would tell me I was dead wrong for not giving that man another chance. Like, it's all about their pussies. It's all about their pussies. It's all about their pussies. That's all these women have. The only value these women see in themselves. And it's the only thing they present to the world. Their pussies and chaos. Chaos from them, chaos from their offspring. Chaos they create, they sustain, and they encourage. Even when my mom's little clique would tell me I was dead wrong for not giving that man another chance after she gossiped to them about all my business, especially any little perceived shortcomings. I would much rather have a healthy and reciprocal community care with neighbors, co-workers, support my local economy through spending in small business owners and farmers, etc. Energy can be better spent elsewhere, even if that means being single for years at a time, if that's what it takes for my life to be healthy and productive. And they can't stop talking about your perceived shortcomings. They're never going to stop trashing you. Never. Meanwhile, my mother went to jail last year for DUI and aggressively getting in the middle of her latest married boyfriend and the police. Despite her being a psychiatric nurse with things to lose, it doesn't matter. Like, the nurses are the worst of the worst. If you know somebody if you know a woman that is a nurse, and I'm sorry if you are one, okay, you just have to assume they have some kind of personality disorder, that they think through their vaginas, all of them. And they're pilled up and drunk, and because that is the majority of the nursing profession in 2025. Which leads to my point. She has a teenage daughter that she uses as a weapon against me. I'm ashamed to admit this, but I had to berate my mother like a dog for leaving my sister in another city with a relative during the pandemic in order for my mom to be shamed enough to get her own place and get my sister back in her care. She literally just abandoned her and went back to trying to make it work with her ex. This was right after my sister was SA'd by our grandfather and SA'd by our grandfather that we grew up with. My perv grandpa has since died from cancer. Again, rampant with this stuff. Although my stepdad dad and mom were still together for a while after my sister was born, she eventually got tired of my stepdad kicking her, me, and the baby out in the middle of the night, although the townhome and cars were in my mother's name to help him hide from child support for the other 10 kids he had beside my stepbrother and sister. Boy, they're just checking every box. They are checking every stereotypical box, aren't they? Despite being a mental health nurse, my mother got belligerently nasty and hateful with me when I would find specific therapists that would be a good fit for my sister, telling me she don't need no damn therapy and to mind my own damn business for once, to stop trying to control everybody and worry about my own life because I'm the one that's crazy. They don't want you going to therapy because they're afraid what you're going to say. They're afraid that the whole gig is going to be exposed. And she's a psychiatric nurse, right? So supposedly she should know better. Of course she knows better. Because she knows what the therapist, what the psychologist is going to get to. What's the deal with your mother, with your relationship, your childhood? That's where they start. Yet when I am distant, my mother cusses me out in front of my sister about how I neglect her, how I don't care about anyone but myself, and how I was dead wrong for not showing up to our distant family's house to see her during COVID. Meanwhile, they were not letting outsiders into their home during that time. It's so sad she goes out of her way to make my golden child sister feel as if I'm the one who does not care about her. It's triangulation at its finest, because when I stayed with my mother and sister for 2 years, despite having lived in my own apartment through my whole adult prior, it was nothing but constant turmoil and punishment of me. I couldn't correct my sister about failing to blow out a candle before leaving the house, remembering to lock the door, or to not leave the oven on overnight without my mother immediately jumping in and demanding to apologize to my sister for hurting her feelings, or berating me about how sure I forgot to lock the door. Or berating me about how she's sure I forgot to lock the door at some point in my life too. Risk of getting robbed be damned. My mother and sister still cuddle, hold hands in public like she's 5, and use their anger at me to bond. Yet, she's not the benevolent parent she thinks she is. Despite all the money she makes, she won't send her daughter to driving school, won't teach her how to cook. To be fair, my mother doesn't even know how. She just uses other family to do all the labor and hosting. And despite how academically strong my sister is, she doesn't even encourage her to apply for scholarships. Because even though she's showing her this quote unquote love, she never showed her, it's not real love. It's control. She's just controlling her in a different way than she controlled you. She blames you because you were the first one to ruin her life. All the other children after that, meaningless. Meaningless. It's all on you. I used to feel so defeated about what it looks like to be a good sibling to someone who has been brainwashed to despise me. But then I look up and I realize that a whole year or more goes by without my sister even as much as telling me to check on me. Birthdays, holidays, nothing. Nevertheless, I do appreciate that she happily responds with me checking on her. However, my mother always randomly reaches out to me telling me I need to call her child about a hard day she had at school, or pick out a gift for her from a particular place, or come to town for an event. And that's the queen bee. The queen bee never stops being the queen bee. They're constantly running the hive. It's like I exist just to be a prop and perform good daughter for Queen Bee's image. Thank you. At least you got that. You got that. I've noticed the more weeks and months go by that I don't answer the phone and only send short sporadic texts, the more my mother suddenly uses a creepy baby talk tone towards me on my voicemail, as if I'm a toddler And she's worried about her unknowing and unknowized baby out of this big, scary world whom she cares so much about. It's undermining, invalidating, gaslighting, and she sounds demonic when she does it, to be honest. Reminds me of hearing my pretty from the Wicked Witch of the West in The Wizard of Oz. Makes my skin crawl. And seeing all these years, she really knew how to be nice to me, but chose not to until she felt she was losing control, enrages me. And with my sister's high school graduation coming up next year, I'm really contemplating that being the final nail in the coffin, to say I will no longer be used as a surrogate parent when they see fit, but useless outside of that, with no right to but be silent on my own thought and all my own thoughts, feelings, and concerns. I'm at a stage to where I am open to have a relationship with my siblings if my sibling wants to, once an adult and my mom isn't in the middle. Unlikely, but outside of that, I just don't have it in me anymore. My life feels so full and happy away from them. And I feel some guilt about that, because my sister didn't ask to be in the middle, but goes out of her way to prove her loyalty to my mom. Even having taken photos of random juice spills in the fridge when I was still there in order to blame it on me. Am I wrong not to desire to take off? Am I wrong to not desire to take off time from my job, get a rental car, book a hotel, and fly in for my sister's high school graduation, since it's a milestone in her life? I tend to take pride in moving mountains for those I love, but my give a damn gave out for any and everything connected to the Queen Bee. Best, Anonymous. No, you're not wrong. My question to you, Anonymous, is why haven't you gone no contact? Why? Why haven't you cut this entire tumor out of your life completely? Now, you moved away from it, but you're still giving them access to you. I understand you have love for your sister, but you can't save your sister from the hive while you're in it. You can't. The only way to destroy the hive is to leave it and not go back and not communicate with it. Ever. Ever. Because by you showing up to her high school graduation, what you're telling your sister is you are validating your mother's behavior. You are validating it. You have to be able to show your sister, this is a line in the sand in my life and in your life that can't be uncrossed. And your mother crossed that line decades ago. Decades ago. You can't save her. You can't save the worker bee from the hive, from inside the hive. You can't. The only way you have any chance, and it's a slight chance at best, is leaving the hive completely and not communicating with it. Period. Until your sister is willing to leave that hive and acknowledge who and what your mother is, it's a pointless exercise. All you're doing is showing up so you can give them more ammunition to use against you. Oh, well, what are they going to say about me, Ollie? What are they saying about you now? What's the difference? They're already telling you you're a worthless piece of garbage. So you could either be a worthless piece of garbage who dutifully shows up at the hive whenever called, or you could be a worthless piece of garbage who won't acknowledge them anymore. The choice is yours. Because this can't be fixed. This is generational narcissism. It's generational personality disorder. And the anchors of this have been long set, long anchored, multiple ports for her to go. It's too much It's you can't fight it. She has an army of worker bees and neighbor queen bees to support all her bullshit. And your sister only goes and your sister's only behavior is to go along with it to satisfy your mother. There's nothing you can do with that by showing up. Nothing. The only chance you have is to totally isolate yourself from the hive completely. There's no other statement you can make stronger than that. This is my line. It has been crossed decades ago. I should have done this years ago. That's it. When your sister is willing to accept that reality, then you could talk to her about, fixing things in her life and in your relationship. Without that, what is the point? You're just putting additions on the hive. So I hope that helps. Thank you, Anonymous, for your contribution and story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, something you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype phone call, have a private video made, you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with either the Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, and email links in the description box below. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. Also, be sure to subscribe to both my channels on Rumble. If you haven't watched this video over there, please do. Even a click helps. Follow me on X and Telegram as well. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been Societal Narcissism. Take care, everyone.